I did not see the cracks in your promises because I was too busy building castles in your name. I painted your silence with the colors of loyalty, never imagining it was the shade of distance. You stood so close, yet felt so far, like a shadow that never quite touches the light. I trusted the warmth of your presence, not knowing it was only borrowed heat. Your laughter became my favorite sound, your absence my deepest wound. I waited for you in moments that never arrived, stood at doors that were never meant to open. You said forever as if it was simple, as if time was your loyal servant. I held on to that word like a lifeline, not knowing it was made of smoke. Trust is strange. It grows in silence, it blooms in belief, and it dies without a sound. I did not hear it break. I only felt the bleeding. One day your voice changed, and I told myself it was the wind. One day your eyes avoided mine, and I called it tiredness. One day your promises became pauses, and I named them misunderstandings. I was kind to your cruelty. I was patient with your distance. I was loyal to your lies, because when you love deeply, you protect even what is killing you. I defended you in rooms you were never in. I trusted you in moments you were betraying me. I chose you while you were choosing someone else, and still I smiled. Trust is not broken in one moment. It is chipped by small neglects, scratched by careless words, and finally shattered by one honest truth. When I found out, the world did not collapse. It simply became quiet. Pain does not scream. It whispers, and those whispers echo forever. I looked at you and searched for the person I trusted, but all I saw was a stranger wearing your face. Your apologies fell like empty rain, wet but never nourishing. You said you didn't mean it, but broken things don't care about intentions. I tried to forgive you, but my heart kept remembering. I tried to forget, but my soul refused. Trust once lost does not return the same. It comes back limping, afraid, suspicious, and tired. I am not angry. I am just done. Done believing in words that change. Done hoping in promises that expire. Done trusting hands that let go. You broke my trust and then asked why I became distant. You burned the bridge and wondered why I wouldn't cross. Some wounds do not bleed. They just live. They live in hesitation, in overthinking, in fear of getting close again. You taught me how to love, but you also taught me how to doubt. And that lesson was expensive. I remember the version of me who trusted without fear, who believed without proof, who loved without armor. You broke that version quietly. Now I read between every line, listen behind every word, and doubt behind every smile. You didn't just break my trust, you rewrote my instincts. I used to fall easily. Now I step carefully. I used to open my heart. Now I knock. You don't know the damage of betrayal, because you were not the one rebuilding yourself from pieces you never chose to break. I wake up sometimes missing you, and then I remember why I left. Missing someone who hurt you is the most confusing kind of pain. Your name still visits my thoughts, uninvited, unwanted, unforgettable. Trust is not a switch. It doesn't turn off cleanly. It flickers. It hesitates. It hurts before it disappears. I tried to stay. I really did. But staying meant losing myself, and leaving meant losing you. So I chose the pain that heals. You said I changed. Yes, I did. Because people don't stay soft in places where they were wounded. You say I'm distant, but distance is safer than deception. You say I'm cold, but I was warm when you were careless. You don't get to break someone and complain about the pieces. Trust is a gift, not a guarantee, and you treated it like it was replaceable. I replay conversations in my mind, searching for the moment it went wrong. But sometimes there is no moment. Sometimes there is only a pattern. Pattern of neglect. A pattern of excuses. Pattern of lies. And I was the only one pretending not to see. I loved you with loyalty. You loved me with convenience. I gave you truth. You gave me illusions. I offered you my heart. You offered me lessons. Some nights I still ask, was I not enough? Then I remember, it was never about enough. It was about honesty. You didn't lose me. You misplaced me. And now you're searching in a place I no longer exist. Trust once broken becomes a ghost. You feel it, but you can't touch it. I look at people differently now. I listen harder. I expect less. Because expectations hurt and hope is heavy. I don't hate you. I just no longer recognize you. You are a chapter one read too deeply. A promise I believed too blindly. A lesson I paid for with my peace. And still, I wish you well. Just far away from me. Because broken trust doesn't scream. It changes you silently. Teaches you to love carefully. Teaches you to leave early. It teaches you to protect yourself. And the saddest part? It teaches you to doubt people who never hurt you. Your mistake now lives in my future. I will love again, but not the same. I will trust again, but not easily. I will open my heart again, but with locks this time. Because you taught me that not everyone who says forever means faithful. Sometimes I wonder if you ever think about me the way I still think about you. Not with love, but with that quiet ache that sits between memory and regret. You left fingerprints on my soul, and now everything I touch feels unfamiliar. Even happiness feels suspicious, as if it might disappear without warning. I flinch at kindness. I question affection. I analyze tone, timing, and silence. Because you taught me that people can smile and still betray you. I used to believe in sincerity. Now I believe in patterns. I used to trust energy. Now I trust consistency. You turned me into someone who double-checks feelings, who rereads messages, who waits for disappointment. And that is not love. That is survival. Your betrayal did not just hurt me. It educated me. Now I know the difference between attention and intention, between words and actions, between presence and loyalty. I wish I could unlearn that. I wish I could go back to being innocent with my heart, to loving without fear, to trusting without proof. But once trust is broken, you never love the same again. You love with caution, with boundaries, with exit plans. You love prepared to be hurt. I hate that you did this to me, but I hate more that I let you. I gave you access to parts of me no one else had ever seen, and you walked through them like they were temporary. You didn't just break my trust. You made me question my worth. And that is the deepest wound. Some days I'm strong. Some days I'm tired. Some days I miss you. Some days I'm grateful you're gone. Healing is not straight. It bends. It breaks. It repeats. I forgive you on good days. I resent you on honest days. And both are valid. You were not a mistake. You were a lesson. Painful one. A necessary one. Permanent one. I learned that loyalty is rare. That honesty is fragile. That love is not always safe. And that not everyone who holds your hand will protect your heart. I used to wait for your messages. Now I wait for peace. I used to crave your voice. Now I crave stability. I used to need your presence. Now I need distance. Because distance is quiet. And quiet is healing. You can't rebuild trust in the same place it was destroyed. And you can't grow in soil that poisoned you. So I walked away, not because I stopped loving you, but because I started loving myself. And that decision still hurts, but it hurts less than staying. You don't get to ask for access to a heart you didn't respect. You don't get to miss me when you didn't value me. You don't get to regret what you didn't protect. I was loyal. I was honest. I was real. And that was never the problem. The problem was you didn't know how to handle someone who loved you sincerely. So you tested me and lost me. Now I am learning to trust again. Not people, but myself. To trust my instincts. To trust my boundaries. To trust my ability to walk away. Because the strongest trust is not in others. It is in your own strength. And I am stronger now. Broken, yes. Scarred, yes. But not defeated. You may have broken my trust, but you did not break me. I don't tell people what you did. Not because I'm protecting you, but because I'm protecting myself from reliving it in their reactions. Some stories are too heavy to repeat. Some pains are too private to share. You live in the quiet corners of my mind, in the pauses between breaths, in the space where hope used to be. Even my dreams changed after you. They became cautious. They became distant. They became lonely. You taught me that love can look safe and still be dangerous. That promises can sound sincere and still be empty. That I care can mean I care when it's convenient. I was loyal to you in your absence. You were careless with me in my presence. That irony still hurts. Sometimes I imagine what we could have been if you had been honest, if you had been loyal, if you had been real. And then I stop, because imagination is cruel when reality has already spoken. You were my comfort once. Now you are my caution. I trusted you with my vulnerability, and you treated it like a weakness. You don't know how hard it is to open up again after someone used your honesty against you. Now I measure words. I analyze tone. I question intentions. Not because I am insecure, but because I am experienced. There is a difference. You took advantage of my softness, and now the world gets my strength. You had access to my heart. Now people need permission, and permission is expensive. Some people lose love. I lost safety, and that is harder to replace. You can replace a person. You cannot replace peace. I miss who I was before you hurt me. I miss my lightness. I miss my ease. I miss my unguarded laughter. But I don't miss you, because missing you would mean forgetting the damage. And I will not romanticize what broke me. You apologized, but apologies don't rebuild trust. Consistency does. And you never stayed long enough to prove you could change. You wanted forgiveness without accountability, healing without effort, trust without work. That's not how it works. Trust is built in actions, not words, in presence, not promises. And you were absent when it mattered most. I gave you chances. You gave me reasons. I believed in you. You believed in yourself. That difference is everything. Sometimes I wonder if you even realized what you lost. But then I remember, people who value you don't risk you. So no, you didn't lose me. You gave me away. I am no longer angry. Anger requires energy. I am at peace, and peace is powerful. You don't haunt me anymore. You visit sometimes, but you don't stay. And that is progress. I am learning to trust slowly, to love wisely, to choose carefully. Because broken trust makes you selective. Not bitter, not cruel, just aware. And awareness is protection. You were a chapter, painful one, but not the whole story. I am still writing. I am still healing. I am still becoming. And one day, someone will hold my trust like it is sacred, not temporary. Until then, I hold it myself. And I hold it gently. I no longer beg for clarity. If something feels wrong, I walk away. Because confusion is a language I learned from you, and I refuse to speak it again. You made me fluent in doubt. I am trying to forget that dialect. I remember how I used to wait, how I used to hope, how I used to explain your behavior to myself just to keep you in my life. I was loyal to a version of you that did not exist. I loved potential. You lived in reality, and reality never met my expectations. That was my mistake. I kept watering a dead plant because I believed in miracles. You kept taking the water and giving nothing back. Love should not feel like survival. Trust should not feel like risk. But with you, everything was a gamble. I bet my heart and lost. You don't know what it's like to question your own judgment, to wonder if you are too trusting, too soft, too hopeful. You don't know what it's like to blame yourself for someone else's dishonesty. But I do, and I am tired of carrying that weight. I see red flags now. I don't paint them white anymore. I hear silence. I don't excuse it anymore. I feel distance. I don't chase it anymore. Because chasing you taught me how to abandon myself. And I will never do that again. You had my loyalty. You had my patience. You had my forgiveness. And you treated them like they were endless. But I was not endless. I was just quiet. Quiet in my pain. Quiet in my disappointment. Quiet in my breaking. Until one day I wasn't. One day I chose myself. And that was the day you lost access. You didn't notice at first. You were too busy being comfortable. People always notice when it's too late. I stopped explaining. I stopped waiting. I stopped hoping. And you called it cold. No, it was clarity. You were never confused. You were just careless. And I was never too much. You were just not enough. There is a difference between loving someone and losing yourself in them. I did both, and now I am undoing the damage. I am relearning myself, my boundaries, my worth, my voice, because I was silent for you and loud for myself. You took my trust for granted. Now you can take my absence. You don't get to re-enter a life you didn't respect. You don't get to knock on doors you slammed. You don't get to ask for the warmth you ignored. Broken trust is not dramatic. It is quiet. It is slow. It is final. It does not explode. It fades. And by the time you realize, there is nothing left to save. I don't hate you. Hate requires feeling. I feel resolved. Resolved to never accept less. Resolved to never beg. Resolved to never shrink. Because loving you taught me how not to love. And that lesson will protect me forever. I am no longer afraid to be alone. I am afraid to be betrayed again. And that fear keeps me safe. So if I seem distant, guarded, careful, it is not because I am broken. It is because I survived. And survival changes you. It sharpens you. It strengthens you. It silences you. But it also saves you. You were a storm. I was the house. The storm passed. The house remained. With cracks. With scars. With stories. But still standing. And that is something you will never take from me.